This afternoon, flag bearers of the NDC and NPP take their campaign tours to the Ashanti and Oti regions as the clock ticks down to election 2024.
Also, the ZAR Electoral Commission denies claims that it has printed excess ballot papers to favor the ruling party in the upcoming elections.
And in 24 hours, Americans will go to the polls to decide on who will lead the world's most powerful country for the next 4 years. So we have detailed analysis on what to expect. Hello there, it's good to see you here on a Monday afternoon. I'm Kemeni Amano.
And I am Mawena Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. This afternoon, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says his administration will create more than 4 million jobs to meet growing job demands of the Ghanaian youth. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, having ridden on the back of jobs to secure their 2016 electoral victory, say it has successfully created 2.6 million jobs. But with general sentiment of just not enough jobs, what new thing is the governing New Patriotic Party offering to young voters? Their flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, at a youth engagement on the subject of jobs, had this to say.
To the young voters of Ghana, I will say to you, do not switch off. I ask you to get involved. December is about you. December is about who can deliver for you, for your future, whom you trust, who has the integrity, the vision, the energy, the competence, the sense of where the world is today and your place in it, who has the humility to serve you and the decency not to insult you. I shall plead with you to make an informed choice. It is a choice between the one who had his chance and blew it, and the other who is asking for a similar chance, but to deliver with it, which is me. The decision is yours to make, not to bring back what was discarded in the past, but to vote for your future. If your priority is, as I suspect, about how to build strongly on the economic recovery that is before us, then I will plead with you to vote for me because of the vision and solutions that I have for you and the country and the leadership discipline and determination that I possess to see them through. When I say to you today that your concerns and aspirations are my top priority items, I mean it from every sinew of my body. Indeed, I have been consistent right from the onset in making the destiny of the youth of Ghana my utmost priority.
That's the NPP's flag bearer. What more has he been planning on saying? Let's walk you through some key highlights from his address yesterday, and that's going to come up on your screen right now, where amongst many things, the NPP's flag bearer is promising to train 1 million youth in digital skills, reduce costs of power to businesses, tax holiday for startups to up to 3 years, recruit up to 70,000 health personnel to the Agenda 111 hospitals, which are expected to be completed. Also, set quotas for recruitment of persons with disabilities for public sector recruitment. A bit more in terms of what the NPP flag bearer is promising. Establish a fintech fund with a $100 million seed capital to support startups. Also, the abolition of the e-levy. And then what he says is that based on the track record for this year, 2.6 million jobs that his government says they've created, he expects to create at least 4 million jobs over the next 8 years when handed the mandates to lead the country. And so just a preview, really, of what to expect from the next NPP government. Miracles Abuaji speaks for the Dr. Bawumia campaign. Let's speak to him this afternoon on the aftermath of that engagement yesterday. Mr. Abuaji, many thanks for speaking to us. After yesterday, how convinced are you and the team that the youth of the country have bought into Dr. Bawumia's vision for job creation?
The number one thing that convinces us is that so far of the 12 or 13 candidates on the ballot, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the one that has really spent time to itemize or outline clear-cut, cogent strategies or ideas in creating jobs for these young people. Today, I'm sure if you go out there on the street and you begin to talk to them about who they believe has the capacity to create the jobs, they would indicate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, based on the fact that he spent time to really sit down with them and show them, not just tell them things he will do, but clearly show them how and where he's going to get these jobs created for them. And I think that makes a lot of difference.
Now, in terms of the ideas, a criticism you're facing is that there aren't what some say quantifiables in the plans to create jobs. So, for instance, outside of the training of 1 million people in digital skills, other policies like increasing internet penetration, appointing a digital ambassador, among others, don't directly lead to the creation of jobs. How do you respond to criticisms like that?
I think those who make that point really didn't listen to the Vice President. Indeed, he made a point that all the things he's outlined, should all of it be implemented, the expected number of jobs to be created from that is about 4 million. And he said that emphatically. He indicated the numbers he's looking out for in the health sector. He indicated the numbers he's looking out for in the IT space. He indicated the numbers he's looking out for in the security services. And then he went on to indicate some plans he has in seeding 3% of GDP to the private sector and in providing infrastructure. He also went on to talk about how he plans to stimulate demand to push up production, which will lead to creation of jobs. So he summed everything up with what his quantity in terms of what he's expecting in terms of numbers for job creation was. And he clearly indicated that about 4 million jobs is expected to be created from these. But of course, the critics in that space may have missed that point. And so these conversations continue, and then we remind them. He said 4 million jobs are expected to be created out of this. And so that criticism is clearly out of place.
One other thing that's been mentioned is accelerating the development of district TVETs, for instance. A question could be asked, what does it mean? How soon does that come on board if you win the elections? Some of the questions which are asked about quantifiables, timelines for these jobs, and these jobs that you intend to create, that is not clearly listed, which some say is a challenge if they want to believe that the promises of the Vice President.
I missed what exactly are you saying? What exactly is the point? What is missing, please?
So you say you're going to, for instance, just on the TVET example, a question can be asked, when are the district TVETs going to come on board? Is there a timeline or a time frame to which he is looking to have that come on board where they can train the individuals to begin to seek employment? Some questions like that.
He didn't say that in isolation. For example, as we speak, you are aware that government has already revamped or started a revamping of the TVET education, which has shot up the enrollment from somewhere around 42,000 to about 146,000 as we speak. You're also very much aware that today the TVET workshops and training and laboratories that we have are very modernized and are nothing like it used to be in the past. Again, he indicated that he is revamping the public works department at the district level, whose core mandate will be to ensure periodic maintenance of public infrastructure at the district level. And that is where the employment for the artisans will come in. Now, if the employment of the artisans is coming up through the PWD reactivation, it means that these artisans must be equipped with the right skills to be able to do that. And that is where the TVET skills training is also coming in at the district level. So every single point he made is connected to another point. It is important that we look at it in its holistic form for the plan to make sense to all of us. But if we begin to pick it in isolation, that will be very difficult for us to follow the conversation.
And so
the department is reactivated. they are going to be mandated to ensure periodic maintenance of public infrastructure. It means that they need the workforce to work with them. These workforce are the artisans at the district level. These artisans need to be equipped with the necessary technical vocational skills, and then they can feed in to the PWD.
And so the expectation is that he hits the ground running immediately when he wins the election, because that perhaps will form the crux of the arguments being made as to clear timelines being set for a number of these policies when they begin to be rolled out and all of that.
You'd realize that Dr. Mahmoud Bamia's policies are not hanging. They are mostly hinged on what we've been able to achieve so far as a country, and then build on that. So clearly, it is a continuation and an upgrade. That's why we keep talking about upgrade. It is an upgrade of what it is that we've been able to successfully achieve and moving it to the next level. So you talk of TVET, we have successfully revamped, revolutionized the TVET training in the country and modernized it. And so if you say once it comes, PWD is going to take off and the training is going to take off, it means that we already have a lot of these TVET centers built, and a lot are already also being built across the country. And so it is work and progress. It is a continuation of the successes and the well-performed areas that is going to take to the next level. So there isn't really a break in terms of implementation, because it's already in progress, and it's up to the Vice President to simply take it up from there, and then we'll move on speedily into the future.
Dennis, we'll leave the conversation here. I'm sure as you continue to traverse the different constituencies, there will be a lot more to talk about. That's Dennis Miracles Abuaji. He is the spokesperson of the Dr. Bawumia campaign team, speaking to us this afternoon. A bit more politics for you this hour.
Indeed. Now, the NDC's national chairman, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has called on the ruling NPP to address the current security challenges in some parts of the country before the December elections. Speaking at a campaign rally at Kenteng, a suburb of Techiman in the Bono East region, Asiedu Nketia accused government of failing to maintain peace and security in Boko despite the resources at their disposal.
Nantokwa sorry baby bebre babia ahensam babia asasisem babia politiciansem babia wenua the extra one say they have failed in their governance. Science security no nyina a sign of bad governance. Now obi and bad governance say okopel say entoasoa we say we are very dangerous. What one is what? Let's just say what for us to say. And tokwa any better of mine. And unti manifesto near my sister without peace, there cannot never be progress. And unti MPP are buying a tiakonyaso. If they cannot guarantee the peace of this country, they should back off and leave. Now, Obia, all the good governance, now, I say, I said, the Bessia, Babia, no credit, all the better.
Still in politics, the Electoral Commission has denied claims that it has printed excess ballot papers to favor the ruling party in the upcoming elections. The NDC has asked the Commission to provide details of serial numbers for all ballot papers in response to the allegations. However, the EC states that it is committed to a transparent electoral process. Christian Yale as a wrap from the launch of the 2024 National Peace Campaign.
Call it a peace altar, and you are right. Key stakeholders in Ghana's electoral process gathered here to commit themselves to a peaceful electoral year. Religious leaders, members of the clergy, as well as party flag bearers and representatives of the Electoral Commission, as well as the security forces and even the president, were here to sound a clarion call for peace before, during and after the 2024 December 7 elections.
The uniqueness of this year's election is that for the first time, we have a Muslim candidate running for office along a former president who is also in the race. It is crucial that we avoid turning our campaigns into religious confrontations.
Deputy Chairperson in charge of operation at the Electoral Commission, Samuel Tete, denied allegations that the Commission is printing excess ballot papers to favor any political party ahead of the polls.
As has been the practice, all excess ballots are shredded and destroyed in the presence of party agents and a certificate of destruction signed. We wish to state that our processes are so transparent that the Commission cannot print excess ballots, and we entreat the public not to panic.
While highlighting the readiness of the Electoral Commission to conduct a peaceful and transparent elections, he also urged leaders of the political parties to be circumspect in their utterances.
Our call is also to the leadership to be responsible in their utterances, because it is our utterances that leads to the tensions and suspicions and undermines the trust and confidence and processes which could lead to violent outcomes.
Former President and flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, says that he is committed to peace. However, he is warning against the deployment of military or armed personnel to polling stations as well as collation centers. He says the militarization of Ghana's elections must stop.
In respect to the pre-election peace accord, we would be making an official proposal to the National Peace Council to expand the signatories to the Peace Pact to include other important stakeholders in our elections. It is our hope that this will make the pact a more binding commitment to peace and not just a ceremonial piece of paper without any meaning.
On his side, the running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, says that all political parties, including the NDC, must sign the Peace Pact.
It is time for us to put words into action. Let us sign the peace accord to demonstrate that we mean what we say.
Although it was a platform to campaign for peace, politicians took turns to jab each other and to embark on some campaigns.
I am therefore extremely disappointed that both the President and the Vice President did not consider this program important enough.
It is not true that he didn't value this. He does value it, and he wanted to be here, but circumstances beyond his control.
Other flag bearers like Dr. Hassan Ayariga of the APC, as well as the Movement for Change, were all represented. They took time to also call for peace in Boko and surrounding areas. Christian Yale, TV3 News, State House, Accra.
Let's get back on the campaign trail. The flag bearer of the NDC has arrived in the Oti region to kickstart his regional campaign tour. John Mahama, after taking a day's break of his campaign to take part in the peace campaign on Sunday under the auspices of the Ghana Pentecostal Council, the Christian Council, and the Office of the National Chief Imam. This morning, Mr. Mahama is in Kwame Kurum in the Biakoye constituency. Mahama's vision centers on reducing unemployment through sustainable economic policies, including the 24-hour economy, rolling out a $10 billion push infrastructural program and a 1 million coders program. He believes that jobs not only provide income but also dignity and purpose. Our Komla Kluche is traveling with the NDC's flag bearer. He's joined us for more from the Oti region. Komla, good afternoon to you. Let's talk about the NDC in the Oti region and what really the aim or focus is.
Well, John Mahama has been campaigning. In fact, if you look at what the Oti region has been made about, it can confidently be said to be a safe region for the NDC, but they aren't taking chances. From what the handlers of John Mahama has been saying to me, they say that every other seat, every other vote in the region is equally important to them. But just a short while ago, he finished his first port of call, which was Kwame Kurum in the Biakoye constituency. The convoy is just heading towards Dambai, where there's a mini rally. Then he will head to the Karachi West constituency as well. About 4 spots he will be concentrating on today. We heard him a while ago speak about that supposed falsehood that he fled the northern region because he became quite unfriendly to him. But specifically on the new regions, he's been outlining what exactly government should have done for the new regions they've created, not less than 4 years ago. But he's equally been talking about his vision for the regions. Let's listen to what he had to say a short while ago on the creation of the new regions and what he'll be doing differently.
Region Bia was set in Aban University. Into your region, and they say Aban for Ebano. Yeah, they see Aban University, LOT region. Your policy, and it's a region, your family region. It was set on more regional hospital into your region. You ever see regional hospital? Yes, region behind your friendly region. It was a region, no. It was sports stadium. Appiatse sports stadium. It was the region. Some regional police command headquarters. NTABC regional police command headquarters.
NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama speaking there in the OT region. Earlier was Komla Kluche, who's traveling on the campaign trail with John Mahama.
From the camp of the NDC to the NPP now, where the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, says he will roll out new policies to regulate mining in the country. A new policy, according to the flag bearer, will include the involvement of chiefs in the mining concessions. He again says he will facilitate the setting up of a mining bank. He's been addressing the people of Ntobroso in the Echimamponia constituency as part of his Ashanti regional tour, and he's been speaking about reducing food importation through an agriculture mechanism system under his presidency. Daniel Opoku is my colleague who's traveling with the Vice President. Let's touch base with him right now as with regards what more the Vice President has been saying. Daniel, let's first start off with the reception the Vice President has been receiving at the Echimamponia constituency.
Right, so good afternoon, Mawina. The Vice President this morning began his campaign at Ntobroso. Ntobroso is in the Echimamponia constituency, where Echimamponia constituency, where he decided to meet the stakeholders. And this is the normal thing that he does. There is a constituency that he finds himself, he engages what he calls the stakeholders, i.e. the chiefs, the traditional leaders, to talk about Muslim clerics and also the clergy. And this one, the Ntobroso is a place predominantly for miners. And so when the Vice President engaged them, he gave an assurance of trying to regulate the mining industry, setting up a bank also involving the chiefs in terms of the allocation of funds. A major problem that the chiefs carried across was the fact that their roads are in a deplorable state, and also they need a nursing training and also other amenities that they want government to attend to, which the vice president has indicated his commitment to be able to get those things for them. And most importantly, the need for them to get an ambulance for the hospital that they have in the community. And the vice president gave them assurance that before the elections, will be able to facilitate the process. Now, right after meeting the people of Ntobroso, he's heading towards to address the party faithful as what we call the community connect, where he engages all the various the party people, gives them assurance that when he comes to power, he's going to meet their needs, and also asking them to vote for him, not to vote for the former president. Today, he has about 3 constituencies that he will be attending. He has just concluded with one, and very soon be heading towards the Jumawa-Abidjan South and also Jumawa-Abidjan North. And today begins the 15-day tour of the Ashanti region by His Excellency the Vice President, and also
Hello, Daniel. We're having a slight challenge with the line with Daniel Opoku, who's traveling with the Vice President. I'm sure we can take a listen to Dr. Baumia now and what he's been telling constituents. We'll bring that to you subsequently. But you're live here on NewsCentral. This is your election command center. We'll be bringing you details of the campaign trails as the two leading candidates have been traversing the country seeking to convince voters that they are the right individuals to lead the country into progress. We're going for our very first break here on NewsCentral. When we return, a bit more stories for you. Please do stay.
My life wasn't always like this. I worked in a bank and had money in bonds to cushion me for the future. Then, with a stroke of a pen, my life was destroyed. My bank was part of the 420 financial institutions which the MPP government recklessly collapsed. What was to become the life of the workers? No one in this insensitive government cared. And suddenly, I was jobless. Their incessant borrowing also led to a debt restructuring program that affected me, and just like that, a significant portion of my lifetime investment vanished. Even worse, my lifetime savings from 30 years of hard work has been rendered useless due to the continuous depreciation of the city and extremely high cost of living in the country. Now, look at me. The fruits of my toil and sweat have all gone down the drain because of bad leadership. What to eat with my children is even a struggle. God, help me and the many who share in my pain. Let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end. Change must come.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
Luckiest. *712#. Luck is everywhere. 8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get back packing so you have to one lie. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. Hey, go build with you. We are star 712. It's much more phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Let's
choose buy tickets for adults.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random ticket. That's it. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
So good, miss.
Hey, there, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
Papa Sammy, I beg if you find something small, give us.
Bro Sammy, you see, no be say boys no want do nothing and just they rely on handouts. Just no deal.
I understand the hassle. Hope they come. John Mahama they come do the National Apprenticeship Program where he go sort you guys.
Brother Sammy, wait till be that.
John Mahama knows say no be everybody way won't work for office.
Like me.
That one day is true.
Under the National Apprenticeship Program, young men and women where they won't learn craft will be enrolled under the program and attached to a senior craftsman who will train them for free.
I beg you, mechanic day inside. Me like this. I don't want to learn mechanical, but the course no.
Mechanics day inside. Organizing, dressmaking, fabric making, catering, hairdressing, tiling, painting. What they even sweet about this whole thing they say, when you plead, the NDC government go make sure say they go give you certificate where you go fit take go look for job anywhere.
That's sweet.
Oh, that's be one waffle.
Another one waffle thing be say, when you plead, the NDC government go set you up with startup capital and equipment to make sure you can start your own business.
Wow! I dey go shopping my town wait 7th December.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
This is the show that brings finality to all the critical issues. It is the stage where all the facts are checked, issues thoroughly interrogated, opinions shaped, and debates settled. But over here, we do more than just talk. We resolve problems. We hold those in power accountable. We address all the key happenings in society, from politics to health to education to everything you deem important. And we will center the voice of the ordinary Ghanaian. This is the show that sets the agenda.
Agenda shows Mondays at 9 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Welcome back. This is still News Central here on TV3. We can now take you to Regional Hub. Now, Member of Parliament for Appiatse South, Angela Alowute, has urged Ghanaians, especially the people of the North, to prioritize peace as the country inches close to the December 7th elections. According to her, the unfortunate fatalities that characterized the 2020 elections, leading to the deaths of 8 Ghanaians, must not be allowed to happen again. The Appiatse South MP also appealed to religious groups to intensify their prayers for the country. Let's stay a bit longer on this development and engage my colleague Christopher Amwako, who was at the Maranatha Assemblies of God Church in Tamale, where a prayer service was held by the local council of churches in the northern region. Chris, good afternoon to you. Now, the political space obviously is heating up. How will you describe the atmosphere so far in the region? Peaceful?
Yes, so Kemini, I must say that here in the northern region, the atmosphere has been peaceful because political party leaders, religious bodies, and the electorates have come to understand that the 2024 general elections is crucial, and owing to the fact that the two major political parties, in fact, their flag bearers are from the north. And so, first of all, they have to prioritize peace in the northern part of the country so that it will paint a good picture of the region. Now, one critical issue is that there has been much more concentration of peaceful advocacy in the northern region because of the factors I have mentioned. And so right now, as it stands, the atmosphere is peaceful. Everybody is preaching peace because this December elections is one that must be peaceful. People are saying that they don't want to lose lives as was observed in the 2020 elections. The MP for Appiatse South was in Tamale to lead the local council of churches in a prayer session that has been organized by the Speaker of
Christopher, it looks like we're losing that connection there, but we can take a listen to Appiatse South MP.
Cast your votes, go home peacefully. The speaker says, be calm, take your card, is a voter registration card, walk to the polling station, cast your votes, go home peacefully. During counting, you come and observe. No trouble. No trouble. He's asking the military, the police, whatever, to do their job without any bloodshed. That is key to us. The 8 lives we lost the last time, we are not happy about them. And so this time, we want peace. If your commander says fire, know that the person you are going to fire is a Ghanaian. He has the same blood in him or her as you, the person firing. And so the speaker says that peace, peace, peace. We are one people.
Salomte is Appiatse South MP. She was speaking in the northern regional capital, Tamale. We can take a listen to participants at that prayer service.
For prayers towards the elections in December, and I feel like it's very necessary because in everything that we should do as a country and as individuals, we should include God because He takes control over everything, and He's the giver of peace and all of that. So if we want to actually have a peaceful election, we have to pray towards it. So I'm here to support my country in prayers because I really love my country and I really wish for the peace of my country.
The two main presidential candidates hail from the north here, so that is already something. Okay. Secondly, when you're looking at the pedigree of peace, development, whatever in Mother Ghana, the story of the North is also different. Okay. And if you are putting Ghana in the West Africa sub-region, where the problems are, the door to those places is northern Ghana. And we are having elections. It is very important that this election will be a peaceful one to send a message to the rest of the world and the rest of Africa that we can make it and we can be peaceful in spite of our differences. That's why it is important. And that's why, for us, Northerners here, it's a very important opportunity to pray for peace.
Let's get back to Christopher. Christopher, we've listened to the Appiatse South MP. We've also heard from participants at the prayer event. But I want to hear from you. How did they say people within the community themselves could help maintain and sustain the peace there?
Yes, so basically, Kevin, it has to do with people understanding the need for peace in the region. It has to do with people knowing that, look, on elections day, when you go to vote, you go back to your house. If it's time for counting, you go to the polling station where you voted to also observe the counting processes. So the people are buying into the messages of peace that have been going on, especially in the media front, where the advocacy has been intensified for people to understand the need for peace. So I must say that people are making promises of remaining peaceful before, during, and after the 2024 elections. And we are just hoping that the political atmosphere remains as it is now, so that we don't get into a very serious issue.
Indeed, Christopher Udiva here. Thank you so much. Christopher Mwako is our Northern Region correspondent.
To some more stories, challenges of the Phase 3 beneficiaries of the Appiatse redevelopment program are far from over, as the chief of the area has ordered engineers working on the site to stop work. This comes after numerous agitations by the beneficiaries to get the work started. Irama Smith is joining us right now with a bit more details from there. Irama, talk to us. A rather unfortunate situation. Talk to us about why the chief has adopted this posture.
Right, so let me put you in context. You will recall the Appiatse incident in January 2022, where a blast resulted in an entire community collapsing. Now they are done with the phase. You will also recall that Phase 1 of the redevelopment was commissioned by the Vice President and the Sector Minister Samuel Abu Dinapo on May 2, where 124 units of houses were handed over. This formed the Phase 1 of the redevelopment project. With the Phase 2, those whose buildings were not seriously affected, I'm talking about maybe the roof or maybe the windows, you know, these petty challenges or petty repairs, were given money to enable them to do those repairs. Now the Phase 3 of the project is about those whose buildings were destroyed to enable the proper setting up of the Phase 1 of the project. I mean, buildings had to be brought down to enable proper demarcation of roads, among others. And these people have been agitating for quite a while, demanding for their compensation or for the beginning of the Phase 3. Thankfully, the Phase 3 began. However, the chief of the area, Nana Kojata Brembi II, caused the project to be halted because, according to him, the land being used for the Phase 3 has already been sold. He says he sold the land. And so if government wants to use that land, there should be proper negotiation so that he can repay those who have already paid for that land.
But we don't see, you know, and Yabua, Grofasa say, I did my home with the actually Ikrono. Omocrano, Yas are saying repressive or Intino, so more Pasasi Biamodia, Assassin or Mobeto.
The traditional leaders have been very supportive following the disaster by giving them lands for the reconstruction of the resettlement. We haven't even managed to fully replace those whose lands we took, so if they need more land, they will have to pay. I was unaware of the start of the Phase 3 until I saw some excavation works ongoing. So I asked your chairman to ask them to stop, since they have to sit with us to negotiate with those whose lands will be affected for them to pay before the project can start.
If you say honor yet and grow for Assasia or more at all, say
As a chief of the area, speaking there to my colleague Irama Smith. Irama, many thanks for the details. I'm sure we'll come back to you for a bit more in relation to this and the way going forward. But that's my colleague Irama Smith. We just lost there briefly on the line. Will bring us to the end of Regional Hub.
Now, the National Council for Private Schools has expressed intention to drag government to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice charge over what they say is discrimination in the school placement system. Executive Director of the Council, Obeng Nanakwesi Jetwa, expressed disappointment in the allocation of 30% of secondary schools to public schools, describing it as an unfair system. Well, we can now speak with Judith Brown, who's joining us with more on this story. Judith, give us a sense of what really the concerns of the council is or are, and how the 30% allocation is affecting the operations.
Right, I'm currently here at the National Council for Private Schools, and basically the concern is that with a 30% allocation, it means that
these private institutions will have to share 70% of the remaining senior high schools with these same public schools. And they feel that this is discriminatory against the earlier practice of allocating the schools per merit, which means that if the student does well in their BEC or their grades are good, then they get or they merit a school that falls within the category A institutions. And so they believe that this is a discriminatory act, and for them the effect basically is that when students get to Form 3 in the junior high schools, which are private, their parents end up taking them out of the schools and sending them to public schools just to register and write for their BEC. This way they are losing money in the private schools, they are unable to pay their teachers, and they believe that this is not the way to go. They say they've spoken to some extent with most of the stakeholders in this, that's the Ministry of Education, and they are not getting any positive feedback. Hence, they've decided to take this issue to Shraj.
Government realized that in order for the government school learners to also get to the category A schools, government, because they don't meet the benchmarks, government then come in to give 30% of such category A schools allocations to be given to the public school students who are coming from the junior high schools. So therefore, when the placement system is set, the system places the government school learners 30% or reserve 30% allocation to the public schools learners and deny the access to the private schools. Government is claiming as an affirmative action on the basis that equipment and learning materials in the private schools are so efficient and it boosts learning than those in the public schools. But that is something that we cannot fathom to understand, because we believe that government has all the resources, money, and even professional teachers. So we rather feel that government should have been able to even position public education in the better grounds rather than a single individual who, one way or the other, might not have even gone to even have a deeper understanding in terms of curriculum development and even delivery. So,
Judith, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for reporting. Still to come.
The 5 kg of rice has moved from 25 cedis to 165. Oh.
Hey! Boss, cement moved from 24 cedis to 105 cedis now. Hey!
The kenke is 5 cedis. The fish, I have 10, 15, and 20 cedis. Which one do you want?
Hey!
Stop the A.
Hey!
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
This October to December, King's Furniture says, thank you, Ghana. Enjoy a whopping 25% off on all our domestic kitchen, wardrobes, and sofas. Upgrade your home with the finest furniture, crafted right here in Ghana. And for your office, we're offering 20% discount on all office furniture because your workspace deserves the best. Whether it's for home or office, now's the time to make your space truly yours and give the gift of comfort and style to your loved ones. Hooray! Promo is from October 1st and ends December 31st, 2024. Visit King's Furniture Showroom today and enjoy these incredible discounts. Locate us in Accra, Kisima, adjacent Melco and Takrade, Tanokrum, Pipeline, right opposite Connect FM, or call us on 050-150-5507 Accra and 050-133-2327. King's Furniture sets a standard. And a big thank you to Ghana.
Mama, stop worrying. How is Kobna?
I got some of his medication. Defense are raising funds to support. Mama, there is hope to vote wisely for Kobene's sake. Mama, wipe your tears. Wipe your tears. Mama cares.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Welcome back. Americans head to the poll on Tuesday to elect a new president in a tight race between Vice President Kamala Harris, a Democrat, and Donald Trump, a Republican. The two have been sharply divided on the role the U.S. government plays in American lives and the world at large. TV3's Christian Yali takes a look at the similarities between the U.S. and Ghanaian elections amid raging issues driving campaigns.
I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Listen, it actually is, I think, very offensive to women.
Jabs and personal attacks have been dominant in the campaigns of both candidates. The race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump remains as tight as ever. Immigration is a top issue on the campaign trail. Their policies on economy have also stoked reactions, with abortion generating interesting perspectives across the states.
There are a lot of people who think that a Donald Trump presidency would bring up better economic imperatives. There are some people who think Kamala Harris presidency would be better in terms of female rights, in terms of female reproductive rights, will be better in terms of race relations.
After months of campaigning, there is now just hours to go. Voters will decide which character to cast their vote for, as both candidates are courting female voters.
And all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that, and then I read that she was black.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
But what could drive people's choice?
At this point, Americans are concerned not just about the economy in general, but they are concerned about inflation. That is a big word. And it's not just inflation as a technical term, but in terms of how that affects people's purchasing power. So basically that's related to high prices. So there's a lot of concern about the cost of living. There is concern about affordability.
The US and Ghana elections present interesting similarities this year.
Yale with that report, and like we've been telling you, the election is tomorrow. Millions of Americans will be out there to vote for who goes into the White House after President Joe Biden. But I do want us to look at the two front runners. Let's start off with former President Donald Trump and the Republican candidate. We know he was born on June 14th, 1946, which makes him a 78-year-old American politician, media personality, and businessman. He's the 45th president of the United States, beating Hillary Clinton in 2016 to enter the White House 2017 to 2021. And he's the Republican nominee, obviously, of the election of 2024. On May 30, 2024, he became the first former president to be convicted of a crime when a New York State jury convicted him on 34 felony counts of falsifying businesses. Let's take a look at his opponent now, Vice President Kamala Davy Harris, born October 20, 1964, making her 60 years old. She's also an American politician and attorney, former Attorney General for California, her home state. She's from the Democratic Party, 49th Vice President of the United States between period 2021 to January 2025. She sought the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination in 2019 against her now boss, Joe Biden, but withdrew from the race before the primaries. Biden then selected her as his running mate, and the ticket defeated the incumbent president and vice president Donald Trump and Mike Pence in the 2020 elections. Let's spend a few more minutes on this. Nanaya Amreku is a researcher in international relations and African politics. He's joining us on the back of this. Nanaya, good afternoon to you. Obviously, it's a big deal for Americans tomorrow, but why should we care here in Ghana?
Well, good afternoon to your discerning viewers, and thank you for having me on your show. I think it's particularly important to us as Ghanaians and as Africans, because we understand that U.S. policies, foreign policy initiatives, reverberate across the four corners of the globe. And so whoever becomes the president of the United States has implications for foreign policy implementation as far as U.S. and Africa is concerned. And so this and other reasons, we would like to understand and have interest in whoever becomes the leader of the free world tomorrow. So it's important in that perspective. Yeah.
I see. I mean, when you look at Europe, Europe is concerned by its relationship with the U.S. They are also concerned about, policy positions on the war in Gaza. What should we as Africans be concerned about when the, elections, as the elections are going on, when it comes to policy positions?
Well, one thing we have to understand is that it's rather unfortunate, but Africa has featured as an afterthought in U.S. foreign policy initiatives, so that you saw that I think after 8 years, Africa had any engagement with the United States until President Biden had this Africa-U.S. summit, in which, if you look at how much was committed to helping African countries navigate security issues, it was just a drop in an ocean. If you compare that to what China and, for instance, Russia, the inroads they are making into the continent. So I think that as what African leaders should expect from the U.S. election is whoever comes to power and how African leaders can re-strategize themselves so they can tap into the growing U.S. market, and not necessarily what U.S. is going to do for us. For instance, if you take somebody like President Donald Trump, he has made it clear on quite a number of occasions that it's America, make America great again, or it's America first. And we have seen the negligence as far as Africa is concerned in its foreign policy initiative. Kamala Harris was here some time ago, took a three-country tour on the continent, and you saw what she sought to do, as far as democracy is concerned. So each of these presidential candidates have their idiosyncratic features. They have their peculiar ideological makeup, and how that will inure, how that will translate into policy impact onto the continent. So it depends on who wins, the presidency. Speaking of who wins, let's look at the path to winning the Electoral College votes. From where you sit, how are things playing out for each of the candidates? Well, a very important terminology that has come up in this election is what's called slim margin or margin of error. It looks as if whoever will win this election, these are some of the expectations we should be looking out for. Whoever will win this election is not going to do that by a landslide victory. It's going to be by a very slim margin. Because as it turns out now, if you look at the 7 key states, what you call the battleground states, or these are not the safe states, the swing states. Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. There's 7 of them. Each of them is leading by a very slim margin. And it looks like whoever is able to take Pennsylvania at the end of the day will carry the Electoral College vote. We understand that U.S. election is not based on popular votes, but by Electoral College. Very well. And Pennsylvania is the lead amongst these electoral colleges with 19 electors. Nana, I'm afraid we'll have to end our conversation here. Let's pick it up again tomorrow when the election takes up proper. Thank you so much.
Anaya Omriku is a researcher in international relations and African politics. Obviously, we've been talking about the U.S. elections, which will be underway shortly. I mean, depending on where you are, and if you haven't voted already,
yes,
it could be in the next 24 hours.
That's one thing I was explaining to somebody, that there's the opportunity for early voting, and so tomorrow is when everybody is expected to have rounded up voting. Early voting started for quite a number of people. But quickly, if you want to follow everything in relation to the U.S. election, that's the handle, 3news.gh. That's exactly the handle you're supposed to be following. And catch up on all news in relation to the U.S. election from us here at TV3, and also every other thing in relation to Ghana. That's our bulletin for you on a brand new week. I am Mawina Egbe.
And I am Kemeni Amano. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.